So, back in the summer of 2010, well, early spring, some loved ones and I went up north to do some camping and to trip on some mushrooms. Just a normal camping trip. And it was early spring, still some snow on the ground, and it was kind of sunset, dusk, when the shrooms really took hold. And when I started peaking, I ended up taking off my shoes and running down this hill to a rapid in a river that I had that I was very familiar with. And basically got to the rapid and had the most pivotal realization and life-changing moment I've ever had, and everything changed from there. And that realization, that shock, lasted for probably about 45 minutes. And then when I kind of started coming out of the peak, I had this vision, and it was I was basically standing in this like old shed or like this garage, this workshop, and I didn't know where it was, but I could feel it was up north, and I was probably 15, 20, 25 feet behind this man. I couldn't see his face, but I'd guess he was about 52 years old. Seemed to be in pretty good shape. Looked like he took care of himself. He was wearing a green flannel. It just felt cold, like it must have been the fall, And he was over this workbench working. And he wasn't unhappy, but he was alone. And he was me. He was me in like 30 years. And that was 12 years ago. And I've tried to change the way, I've tried to change the way I see that, and, because basically it terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me, and I can't seem to shake it. And I think, so I've been trying to change it the past couple years, maybe change the way I see that vision. Maybe he isn't alone. Maybe he, maybe he has a wife, kids, many people who he loves and who love him, and maybe that's just like a Saturday morning and everyone he loves is asleep and he's just in his shop working, But I think that's a lie. But obviously we're the masters of our destiny and, blah, 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 all that bullshit. Which probably isn't bullshit. But the whole reason I bring that up is because yesterday I was talking with a friend, and a friend who I've known a very long time, but who I haven't spoken with in many, many, many years. And we recently reconnected, and I've been very much enjoying their conversations with them. And but yesterday we got into a pretty, I would say probably a difficult topic, a topic that most people avoid. You know, one of those topics that there's no middle ground on, and it really shoots to the core of people's souls. And it went well. It went well. I think both of us tried to be very mature about it, and yes, I know this is not how chisels are supposed to be used. It would be far easier just to grab my Dremel and Dremel this out, but I'm filming, and a Dremel would be very annoying, and you wouldn't be able to hear anything I'm saying. So in order to keep my hands busy, I'm using a chisel. But then after that conversation, we were messaging, and they kind of cut into my soul a little bit, accurately so. Basically asking if I'm stubborn, and so I thought about it all night, basically, and what I kind of came to the conclusion of, or kind of the conclusion I came to, is at this point in my life, I don't really care where you stand on topics. I do. But, and I know this is probably not accurate, but at the moment, I almost care just as much about whether or not, even if we completely disagree, if you are able to just get through the conversation, if you are able to just stick with it, and even though you disagree with the other person, just hear them out. Try to view their point. If they're presenting any information that you either haven't yet considered, or perhaps you're avoiding the difficult conversations. It's like my generation and the Zoomers, the one below me. It's like we're so used to getting everything we want exactly when we want that we've come to learn that we don't have to have difficult conversations. We can avoid them. And I think the very, very, very high percentage of these last two generations, and maybe even the generation before us, don't even know how I quite literally don't even know how to have a difficult conversation. Just as many people don't know how to drive a manual. It's not difficult. Anyone can do it. But you have to learn how to do it. If you've never worked a clutch before, then, you wouldn't really know how to do it. You have to practice a little bit. And the first few times you get on a motorcycle or drive a manual, stick shift, you'll pop the engine, and even if you've been doing it for a while, you'll still pop the engine years later. But at least you're out there trying. And I don't think this generation, the last two generations, have ever really tried. And so basically, while this friend and I were having this difficult conversation, I'm pretty behind the curve when it comes to reading people. But even I could tell that they were not enjoying it very much. But they stuck with it. They tried to get through it. And I didn't really care what their answer was. I didn't really care. I just kind of wanted to see if they could get through the conversation. So I'd prod and poke, and kind of if I saw weakness, or not really weakness, but if I saw an area I felt they were uncomfortable with, I purposefully went after that. Not because I cared about whether, or really what their opinion was. Not that I don't care about their opinion, but I wasn't really trying to focus on the point of it. I was trying to focus on how they'd handle a little stressor, if they'd be able to keep their cool, if they'd be able to be mature when their emotions are heightened. And I guess the whole point of this is the realization I made last night, or the thought I had last night, was you can either have humility, and you can just suck it up. Stand your ground morally. You got to stand your ground morally. But as this person said, so many people focus on winning. But maybe it'd be better if they focused on if they're doing wrong. This isn't their exact wording, but if they're doing wrong by others, or if they're making that other person feel good about themselves, life, the interaction, the relationship. And I guess if you don't want to do that, you could end up like that dude in that workshop, 52 years old, all alone. Yeah. So for myself, maybe just, I don't know. Learn empathy. There's so many stupid fucking people out there with just stupid fucking ideas. And I used to be always so agreeable and so pleasant to be around and so nice, or, obviously that's not true. Any of you guys who've been around me know that's not true. But I always used to try to no conflict, no conflict. And now someone says something dumb. And not like a low IQ dumb, but like a stupid ideology dumb. And as opposed to just letting it slide, I just fucking attack. What the fuck was that? Rabbits, I bet. There's tons of little rabbits around here. And it's like, what the hell, Cliff? Do you really have to win that fight? Do you really have to rip this person's intellectual jugular out? Can't you just think to yourself, that was a stupid comment, and just walk away? I don't know. I have a lot to learn, obviously. But I don't know. I guess we can work with others or we can work alone. And maybe you hear those rabbits, dude? You hear those guys? Yeah, maybe we just need to appreciate the people around us, and as opposed to just proving we're right, maybe we just need to make them feel loved and appreciated and respected. And even if we think what they're saying is dumb, don't go for the jugular. Put love above victory. Stand your moral ground, obviously. Stand your moral ground, but maybe love is better than a victory. But who the fuck am I? Alright, guys.